Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to UK Urban Prepper. This is the Prepper News, or the open mic kind of show that we will go into shortly. Welcome preppers, patriots, people, all of you are welcome here. We're going to talk about stuff going on currently, potentially being on the precipice of something big. This is not fear-mongering, this is us analysing and hopefully getting you guys in to analyse as well. So I will put an invite out there shortly for people to be able to join. See loads of you in there. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I never asked that, but hopefully I'm just not rabbiting myself the last 10 minutes. The website's a bit posh, Mr. UKPN Fancy Pants. Thank you very much. It's good to have you all in here. Miss Worm, Evil Girl, and I'm not sure if my other moderators are in. Give us a wave if you are, but lots of green names. Less green names than you used to be, but still lots of green names. 5x5, thank you very much, Paul. Really do appreciate that. And Rift is in there as well, so my moderators are all in there to keep you in check. We let you have your opinion all day long. Just don't be nasty to anyone in the chat. And don't say anything that YouTube wouldn't like. So, Mike has a shirt on. Neighbours washing raiding. Thank you for the £2 super chat, Scottish Prepper. Thank you. And you also reminded me to put the banner across the bottom. Because it is one of those shows that YouTube doesn't like because we're talking about military stuff. But, first off, let's get it out of the way. The biggest news before all the war stuff and before all the doom and gloom is 4 days ahead of schedule, we have launched the UKPN website. Badoosh! And there it is right there. So basically the news pulling through is from RSS feeds, okay? So it's basic headlines. It's not going to take you into a full article, but it gives you an idea of what's going on in the world. We've currently got 3 people that are writing. So we will have written news as well. If you can hear that in the background, that's because I live in an urban area and that's a siren. But we'll have articles like this with the new series launch of Bad Preppers, where it's a full write-up. So there will be more comprehensive news on there as our writers start to get to grips with it. So it's a work in progress. We've got a lovely FAQ section here, which is what is prepping, our stories, who we are. This was written by our awesome head moderator, Miss Worm. So make sure you go and check all that out. The news is just filtering down what you see on the front page. We have our network map updated with some brighter, more clear colours, because I know you guys couldn't necessarily see right. I am working on a version where you can see the postcode names a bit better in the yellow. It's, you know, it's one of those things. It's one or the other. Can't win. But it tells you what zone you're in for when you join our Discord, which it says at the top there. Eventually, when our Discord server is boosted enough, we'll be able to get a permalink. You can't just buy one. If you could, I would have done. But once it's boosted enough by enough people, we can get a permanent link, and this will link straight through to it. We have resources, which links through to the new Prepper Guide. It links to different resources like this, for example, which is an awesome little resource, which is boreholes and wells. So you zoom right in, check out that. And this is wells not just that are there now, but have been there for years and stuff like that, and each one tells you. So the year 2017, that once, that's more of a recent one, but you'll get them from 1800s. There you go, 1939, that one. So good source to find water. But yeah, there's all sorts of sources on there, and we will improve that as well. We've got obviously a link to all of our influencers at the moment that are part of the Fireside officially, so you can link through to them. As more people join that, we'll get more links on there. And then yeah, pretty much skills as well. This is not stuff, we will add skills of our own, but I'm just linking through to some really good resources on there, so everything in one place. Everyone needs to know how to tie knots. So that's pretty much it, and we'll constantly strive to improve it for you guys. It's all about making somewhere for the community, for a source of news, for a source of relevant news and stuff like that. All funded by your guys' generous donations, which you've already done, which has enabled this project to go ahead. So there you go. That's the big news for me. The rest is just, the usual rubbish. See what you're saying. I've missed all your comments during that spiel. Going by the sirens, Mike said door's about to be kicked in. No, not quite. Not quite. They're after you, Brian, for crimes against fashion. He's done worse things. How much the Discord boost for when I feel rich? I don't know. So I get the Discord Nitro as a personal user, which is like $8.99 a month, and that entitles me to 2 boosts. I think it's a $5 a boost usually, so it's like a deal. But I get that anyway because then I can upload bigger files. Yeah, you'll have to check that out. It's not so urgent, and as we get donations through the site as well, that'll pay for the hosting and everything like that, and I'll also put that into boosting it myself. So we've already had an awesome donation. Somebody's already clicked the donate button on the site, and it's only been live for like a couple of hours. So thank you, Richard G on PayPal, for your donation on there. It's good to know the button's working. Everyone's saying hello. Blah 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 blah. Good to see you, Guardian. Good to see you as well. Right, okay, so let's get into the not so great side of things. So, should I share the pages as we go through, or should we just talk through? Well, we'll just talk through for now. I will get an invite out for people to come in and chat as we go through. But the reason I wanted to do this is you might notice some very popular North American preppers, individuals that have said, it's going nuclear, it's all happening now, I may as well quit YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah, usually I would be like, don't be sensationalist, but there's facts behind it, unfortunately, and this is all stems down to Donald Trump. So the Euronews reports Donald Trump nears decision on sending Tomahawk missiles. As of yesterday evening. So if he's made a decision and it's been announced, I don't know yet. Please put it in the chat. But yeah, giving them Tomahawk missiles. Now there's different rumours, like these are not going to be nuclear capable. Who do you believe with stuff like that? The point is the range on them. So the range on them means there's no safe zone left in most of Russia. And think Trump's stipulation, he wants to know what Zelensky's going to do with them. But I mean, even whatever he says, it doesn't matter, right? So it's still that range. And I feel like it backs Russia and Putin into a corner. I very emphasized the P on Putin there, sorry. Yeah, I feel like it backs him into a corner. And the last thing you want to do is back a 73-year-old dictator with a big red button into a corner. Because unless he does live to 200 years old, like we heard on that weird discussion, he's, what's he got to lose? It's really scary. The way, if you're monitoring any of the aircraft, if you're monitoring any of the ships and stuff like that, the way chest pieces are moving, it's almost like they are slowly getting set up for a decapitation strike, which people might think is a good thing. However, if that doesn't come off 100% precision, and I'm not saying the Americans aren't capable of that, we know they are, most advanced military in the world, but if it doesn't, and dead hand is activated, we think it's active anyway, we can hear the signal coming over, then it's game over. It really is. Everything left will be in the air. And once it's in the air, once it's out the atmosphere and then coming back in, terminal velocity, it's like trying to shoot a bullet out of the air with another bullet. So we don't want that to happen, of course. I hope it all de-escalates, but this seems like a really massive move that could force the hand of somebody. And Putin has actually said himself, where is that gone? So I didn't want to put the video on, but the interview he had was, there there were issues raised such as discussions about supply of new weapon systems. This is Putin saying this to Ukraine, including long-range and high-precision systems like Tomahawks. I have already said that this will lead to the destruction of our relations, or at least the positive trends, and I've cut you off with the banner, have emerged in these relations. So he's basically saying that would be the end of the current dialogue and could be the end of that relationship between the two, which is scary. And Trump, like I say, has been quite evasive at the moment. We don't know what's happening. So he said, yeah, I've sort of made a decision, pretty much. If you consider it, yeah, I think I want to find out what they're doing with them. So I don't know if that means that's his stipulation for it, like, what are you going to do with them? Okay, here you go. Obviously, Zelensky's not going to turn around and say, I'm going to try and muller every one of Putin's houses. He's going to say military targets and stuff like that. He's going to say what's wanted to hear. But once he has them, and they're using, the scary thing for us in the UK as well is it'll be NATO supplying the data to target these. Putin makes the same threat to every new weapon. Well, I know, but this is like increase the range massively. So Tomahawk is a nuclear capable platform. Russia will have to assume they're carrying warheads. So's the F-16 though, right? So this is what we've got to consider. It's why risk that? Why risk him? Oh, it's okay, he'll think they're not nuclear, or he'll believe us when we say it. Russia has an automatic response, the dead hand, yeah, I mentioned that. And the attack on Russia would lead to 100% nuclear response to rain down on the US and NATO. It is utter stupidity to poke the bear. Exactly. But they think they could do it indirectly and get away with it. So, I don't know. We shall see. This was the Euron News also reported Putin lied to Trump and made him look weak, says the former US envoy to Ukraine. This is why, and he adds to that this is why it's possible that the US will send Tomahawks to Ukraine. That's Kurt Volker who said that. So it's just more and more iteration to say there's people that think that happened. I did find a report on Reuters, take that as what you will, saying and a source says that they're not doing, but you know, unless you tell me himself, I don't believe anything until it happens. This is, here you go, let's share this one. So this is what we're talking about. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if I can zoom in. I can zoom in a bit. There we go. So this is the range when it comes to the Tomahawk. At least 1,945 known Russian military objects, including 76 air bases, are in range of Tomahawks, the 2,500 kilometer variant. At least 1,655 known Russian military objects, including 67 air bases, are within range of Tomahawks, the 1,600 kilometer variant. So you can see there the difference. The 1,600 covers all the way to here, and then this is the 2,500 all the way up here, right up to these air bases up the top there. So you're not feeling as safe. So the current ATACMS 300 kilometer variant only reaches here. So that's currently what we're hitting, what Ukraine are hitting, and this is what could happen. And it's obviously showing some of the key targets in that as well. So it's worrying if you're Mr. Putin. So yeah, interesting, that one. So a Russian senator has plotted out 23 locations in the UK that could be destroyed, sparking fresh World War III fears. This was in the Mirror. The article itself was about what you should stock. It was on our Discord, what you should get for World War III, and basically the answer was duct tape. All right, tape up the gaps for the fallout. And that was pretty much the answer. I've just seen there that Guardian Prepping has become a new member. Awesome. Thank you very much, Guardian Prepper. And thank you very much, Anthony Parkinson. I thought you were already a member. Must have lapsed. There you go. Thank you very much. And New City Prepper, thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate it. I'm going to put the link out now for joining me to discuss all of this. If you join straight away, you'll be in the green room down below. Don't worry, I will add you in when the time is ready. Let's have a look at our news then, how this relates to the UK and other stuff that's going on in the UK at the moment. Oh, let's just pop the entire screen on. That's going to be easier. Dangerous, but easier. There we go. Right. So, the BBC, that wonderful, trusted, completely non-biased, not government-run at all source, says Russia targets UK military satellites on a weekly basis. Russia's satellites have been stalking British military satellites, according to the head of the UK Space Command. And this is as of the 3rd of October. He said Russia had also been trying to jam the UK's military satellites with ground-based systems every week. Now, this could be them trying to counter any potential targeting that they might use for the Tomahawk systems. So, yeah, that's that. If we're directly involved with stuff like that, it might not be good for any of us. And a week ago, I think, it's the Guardian reported that Britain may already be at war with Russia, former head of MI5 says. And a lot of people do believe it. We've had these sabotage cases going on around the UK, mysterious cyber attacks, warehouse fires, stuff like that. And that could be the prelude to something larger. And, okay, ready, everyone? Try not to fall off the chair. Try not to unsubscribe. Starmer said something right. Okay? I know, shocking, I know. Keir Starmer calls for student protests on the 7th of October, which is today, not to go ahead, basically. Told them not to. It's very un-British, which I thought is probably the most patriotic thing I've heard the man say. Of course, nobody paid any attention, and if anybody like me follows along to the awesome news channel 2CTV, they'll have seen that this was happening during the day today, and I'm sure probably is getting worse into the night. So worth keeping an eye on that and other sources. But yeah, they don't care. They are literally out celebrating the 7th of October attacks. Whichever way you look at this, that's wrong. They had no respect in Manchester. They still did a protest on the day that 2 people were killed at the synagogue down the road from me. Zero respect. And Gaza has a peace deal on the table. What are you protesting? You don't know. You're just a bunch of crazy anti-Semites, leftists. I said it. Sorry. But yeah, Starmer said something good. Nothing came of it because nobody listens to him anyway. But yeah, and you could see by a simple Google search, don't trust me, trust yourself. This is a Google search based on the last week alone, how much the mainstream media is starting to get on this. And usually when we start seeing more hints of them, then maybe we should add a few more cans to our preps. The Mirror, the Scottish Sun, former Scots defence chief, says people should stock up. Safest areas in the UK during World War III, Russian offensive campaign. It's just endless. And this is only in the last week. And that's page 1 of at least 10 across the bottom. So you don't have to be a genius to see something is going on. Sorry, I'll get back to the comments. Wowza. Look at that. Angela McCall, thank you very much. That's absolutely awesome. That's amazing. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate that donation. Yeah, blown away. Thank you very much, Angela. So appreciated. Can't say thank you any more times. Manda Dukes became a new member. Thank you very much. Sam Lloyd became a new member. Thank you very much. And Rect Paratus. I felt like I was going to say that wrong and it was going to sound rude, but you became a new member. Thank you very much. Last two things we'll look at before we bring our guests that are patiently waiting in their respective bunkers is the biggest indicator for all of this stuff going on, and what a lot of channels point to straight away is the gold. And usually, if you look anywhere in the middle of that graph, this is a 1 year graph, by the way. If you look anywhere in the middle of that graph, you have spikes and drops. And the sensationalist channels, every one of these spikes would have been like, oh my God, it's happening now. Look at God. And it drops back down. All right. And we've had it all year long. But there's a definite increase here that we cannot deny. We were saying when it was at 2000 that, you know, when it was coming up to past 2000, that it was a dangerous time. We're nearly at the 3000 mark, £2,966 and 23 pence. $4,000 the gold is at, which is insane. And it's usually a key indicator for things like this. And the silver is following right along. Still slightly affordable. Don't think, oh, I'm not going to buy it now. It's its highest ever. I bet people thought that on this spike, on this spike, on this spike. It's still worth investing, in my opinion. I have no affiliation with Bullion by Post. It was just the best looking graph that came up. But yeah, true indicators for potential something there. So let me know in the chat what you think. If I'm just talking bubbles, don't worry, Brian's here, so he'll definitely tell me if I'm talking bubbles. We know he doesn't pull his punches. James Ridley became a new member. Thank you very much, James Ridley. I will come back to your chat straight away. Let's just get our guests in so they're not waiting too much longer. There he is. There he is. Hello, Brian. Hello, Ben. How you doing?
Good, mate. How are you? Hi,
I'm
Ben.
Excellent. I'm excellent. I've just had the biggest super chat I've ever received in my life, which was amazing. YouTube thanks you for their 40%. How are you doing, guys? I assume you've listened to a bit of my waffle just going on there. And am I right to assume that some of you have seen the North American popular preppers video that I was referring to? No, it's basically nuclear wars happening now, as usual.
We should be in our bunkers by now.
You should always be in our bunkers. You should live in our bunkers. Brian, what are you saying?
Going off the back of that then, because he's always so accurate, because we should have died about 300 times by now. I'm just going to go up and kick the kids out of bed and put their mattresses against the door, because that's how you stop a nuclear bomb anyway, so I feel quite safe.
But you say that, but, you know, broken clocks, right, twice a day, and the point is, when this happens, when the proverbial day X happens, he's going to be right, because he will put a video out the day before. So he's going to be right at some point. So you can't just use that as a metric, or he said it, so it's definitely not going to happen.
But that's like going to a lap dancing club and putting a fiver in a thong, expecting her to go home with you at the end of the night. It's not very likely.
You've clearly never been to Prague. That's a fortune.
Well,
get two for that with change.
These places. But let's look at.
Let's keep it sensible today.
The sensible thing is, nothing's changed. No matter what weapon system the West has sold or gifted to Ukraine, the first thing that Russia said was, we're going to blow up all the things. This is going to make us nuke. Britain has never threatened to nuke Russia, right? Even in the face of horrible comments like they're going to blow us up and 23 targets. Just the other day, the rhetoric and saber rattling and fear-mongering coming from them has worked, because rather than providing systems and defences and means to carry out an effective war from day one, the West has consistently piecemeal fed different weapon systems after talking about it in the news for weeks, allowing them to reposition things out of range, taking away their effectiveness. Well, we're still here, right? No matter where it had 80-mile range, extended Storm Shadow or Taurus or ATACMS, no matter what it was they were getting sent, he was going to blow us all up and nuke us. Well, we're 4 years down the line and we're still here.
But you're talking about things that were on his front line, which he fully expects. It's a conventional war. Front line is, would be that 80 kilometers, it's still your front line. When these things can reach not just Moscow, but your safe locations and your safer locations there, suddenly that small country that you were just chomping at with little bites, it is now very, very dangerous. And do you then do a preemptive strike before they launch anything? You've got to think of his mentality, not ours.
Yeah, but his mentality is the threats have been enough, because the reality is if he was to attack directly in a conventional war, they will lose. He knows that.
Mm-hmm.
They will lose, and they will lose the air battle within a week. They'll just shoot down all the mainstays. They'll conventionally hit the command and control bunkers. They'll take out all the marshalling points and tank leggers. They would lose handily. They know that. This is all scaremongering and saber rattling. It's a means to an end. And you know what? It's worked for the guy. It's worked for him successfully for 4 years, no matter what system's been put in place. So, going by the logic that he's given, he can sell weapons to anybody he likes, right? But if we sell weapons or give them to anybody we like, then he's going to attack us. That's his logic. He can launch ballistic missiles, and he can launch any sort of munition, tear gas, any other chemical weapons that he's never used into Ukraine. That's fine. If they do the same back, then they're the bad guy, and he's going to nuke their assistance.
Yeah, but you got, like I say, them Tomahawks are useless without proper guidance, satellite, people to operate them, stuff like that. To me, that almost puts us on a boots in the ground situation. And I think we even said from day one of this thing, we're not involved until there's boots on the ground. Once there's literally boots on the ground and it's causing attacks, then officially, we obviously know there's people there already, but officially, then we're dragged into it. And we're already seen
anyway.
Exactly. We've already seen a level of cyber attacks. We've already had MI5 shutting down Russian saboteurs in this country already before anything's official. So, I mean, for me, it's still, whether it's full-blown nuclear conflict and, dead man's hand and stuff like that, it's still a reason to increase my preps without fear-mongering. As a sensible prepper, because of everything that's going on, I'm increasing the level of my preps. I'm adding to them. I'm spending a bit more than I should.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I don't disagree with the premise. You've got to look at what you think the threats are and the available funds and make decisions based on that. And I would never criticise MD for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to put it in perspective, nothing has changed from this weapon system to any other weapon system, other than the fact that the range of the weapons that they're being given in a piecemeal fashion.
It can reach his front door.
It doesn't matter. All the weapons he's got can reach their front door. We can sell it to whoever we want.
But he's a 73-year-old dictator with a big red button who is never under threat from Ukraine.
They've been under threat now.
Yeah, but no, him personally. With these, him personally could be.
The newer long-range cruise missiles that Ukraine's been firing, basically an aeroplane with a guidance package that they've been using, they have attacked and hit Moscow for the last 2 years running. They are capable of doing it. There's just no value in doing it. There's no value. The value for them is finally paying dividends because they're being smart. They're hitting Russia's wartime warfighting ability. They're hitting the refining capacity. They're hitting things that will make the tanks go, that will allow them to produce petrochemicals and plastics. They're hitting the infrastructure that in time will affect the population, because they're wondering why, if everything's all sunshine and lollipops, like Russian media is portraying, then how come we can't buy petrol at the petrol station that's been rationed, right? It makes people question. So what they're doing is smart in that respect. And the weapons, although crude that they have and been forced to use by repurposing Neptune and everything, they can still hit Moscow. They have fired things at Moscow, but there's no point firing your limited resources at the most heavily defended SAM battery in Europe, right?
Yeah.
When you can hit, because he can't be strong everywhere. A lot of his mobile and fixed SAM defences have been put on projected flight paths of missiles and to protect the front line. So if they can do an end run, whether it's by driving a lorry and firing drones, or special forces with drones, or an extended range aeroplane with guidance package, taking a circuitous route round and hitting the petrochemical refinery and oil exporting bits, they have got real world value without real world risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see a Tomahawk, depending what package they give them, because they could give them craterable bomblet ones that they fire over an airfield, it scatters and does aerial denial on it blows up little holes in the runway, then leaves bomblets to blow up the people trying to repair the runway, and then in its final attack it does a terminal attack with the warhead and hits like a hanger. Yeah. I don't see them doing that. But what they would probably do with these valuable limited resources is to smack and blat refineries, ports, infrastructure.
And is that alone? Right, I'll take on board exactly what you said. No problem. And yeah, I'm hoping, obviously, Mr. Sensational North America is wrong completely. I'm not digging a bunker. I'm increasing my preps. For the reason you've just said, is another reason to do it, though, right? Even though we're supposed to not be heavily reliant on Russian oil, there's countries that are, and Russian gas and stuff like that. And when they can't get it, they'll need to import it from somewhere else, and them finite resources are going to have a knock-on effect where we are already on the brink when it comes to grid, right?
True. I'm not saying. I think I'm not making the point properly. I'm not saying you shouldn't increase your preps based on your perception of the threats.
Mm-hmm.
I just won't be increasing mines based on sending Tomahawk missiles. The level of preps that I'm doing at the moment are entirely dictated by the fact that we do have a war in Europe, that we do have a potential war brewing in Venezuela, that we do have an ongoing war in the Middle East. We do have ongoing multiple cyber attacks on a daily basis in UK and Europe. We do have cables being cut. I mean, now we've got drones flying out of tankers and flying over airfields. Those reasons alone are why your prep level should be here, right?
Yeah.
Not because Putin's threatened again for the 60th time that if you give them a sharp pointy stick, we're going to nuke your country. Yes. I put as much value to that pish as I do into Nate's, right? It's the same noise. Yeah. However, that doesn't change the status quo.
Yeah.
Well, do you know, I can't prep for that, but I can prep for the consequences. Like you say,
yeah,
war costs money.
Mm-hmm.
War has an impact on global shipping, energy costs, right? So it's winter time. They will start hitting the Ukrainian electricity grid again. Who knows whether somebody blows up another gas pipeline, and also you could have issues with our own cables getting cut, like have been happening already this year. They're another reason why you should be making preps, but that's a separate issue for me. These are things that you should be prepping for now, not just because another bogus threat from him that if you give them a bullet or a bigger bullet, I'll threaten to nuke your country every time you do it. That hasn't changed, but the war should justify your preps. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I've always said we should be preparing for the knock-on effects.
Mm.
I live, Brian, I live in a very urban area, which could potentially be a target for one of these things. Both me and you could be crispy crisps if that happens anyway, without pre-notice and bugging the hell out somewhere. That'd be the case scenario. So we prep for the knock-on effects. 50% of what's on your plate, on your dinner table is imported. Fuels, energy, everything like that. The knock-on effects, I'm talking rationing, is the next within a year could potentially be the thing I'm looking at. Without trying to fear people, that's probably the realistic thing.
But people, if you look ahead, the threat of Russia nuking us, I don't see that
Paul.
as here.
Sorry, Paul. I saw you.
Paul.
It said eating, so I thought I'd wait for you to finish.
I'm finished.
Yeah.
I suppose it boils down to what you consider to be the greatest threat axis. Now, if you look at what's coming down the line, we've got multiple theatres of war ongoing now and have been for the last 4 years, right? All over the place. We've got China, who's got a slowing housing market and needs a distraction for economic problems. That plus the war rhetoric with Taiwan, They've already put a second and third carrier on the field this year. Their navy's bigger than the US, and they're building amphibious assault capability. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah,
there will be a shooting
their
war.
manufacture speed as well, no matter how the technology is, if America's got the better technology, their manufacture speed cannot be beaten.
Yep. So then you look at that, that's a potential trouble point that's coming. And a smart person would say within the next 1 to 2 years. Then you look at our own current economic, civil, and power grid problems.
Shit all.
There's a lot of problems coming down the line for UK energy alone before we put any extraneous factors on it, like people cutting power cables or being unable to supply power across interconnectors because of domestic problems in Europe. These are all things that you would look ahead for and should be prepping for, because we know it's going to happen. Him pressing the big red button makes no difference to me, because I can't prep for that and I will die.
Well, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's no point panicking about it, right? That's the whole sensible thing. I'll come to you two guys in a minute. I just want to acknowledge some of the comments because I've been very rude. Gatwick Scuba said, would Russia really waste anything as Comrade Starmer is destroying the country without missiles? Well, that's very true. It's very true. I like Polonium's comment as well. He said, I can resist anything except temptation. Oscar Wilde. It sounds like a Brian quote more than an Oscar Wilde. Gareth, I know you put it in a couple of times, but I did see, have your preps evolved or changed over the years? Yes. I a prepper that hasn't is somebody who's not adaptable, not stuck in their ways. If anything, all of us have found each other. We've all learned from each other, and we're all adapted accordingly. Yeah. Brian's on a whole different level, literally. You've had the shed since we've started the channel and stuff like that, haven't you? So the bunker that you're in now. So
I built this in March.
Yeah. So everyone's constantly evolving. You should be constantly evolving as the world is around you.
Because it evolves based on your budget as well.
Yeah. Funnily enough, we could probably answer in more detail on Sunday, because we're going to do a live Q&A with the Preppers Fireside this Sunday. So there you go. That's the first announcement of that.
Nice.
Exciting.
The Russians may start to use neutron weapon air defense missiles under the assumption that Tomahawks were nuclear armed. This is the thing. It's the what ifs and the maybes, and I hope it's wrong. Alex Rastelli also became a new member. Guys, this is absolutely awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 8 new members already on this live stream. 248 people watching. Thank you very much. Just so you know, Brian, Ben, and Paul all have their own YouTube channels. Miss Worm will post the links. Make sure you show them some love too. Ben,
yeah, man.
You heard my new spiel. So what do you think of the current ongoing situations, the whole Tomahawks, the whole everything?
First off, I'll touch on when you said about the cyber attacks we've had recently. We had posts on X from a little over 45 minutes ago saying 2 arrested on suspicion of computer misuse and blackmail after cyber attack on chain of London nurseries. So that adds more fuel to the fire of protect our kids, as we've seen down in London and everything going on there with Epping and that. But no, I was looking for a comment because somebody said they were from Wales and there's nothing really around here worth hitting, shall we say. But actually there is. We have still got military, apart from the sheep, yeah. No, we've still got military infrastructure, even though in a sense it's more of a museum. We still got like St. Athan and places like that could still be seen as a military infrastructure.
You've got to think. It depends who's hitting, right? If it's a dirty bomb, you've still got cities, you've still got Cardiff, you've still got Swansea. Yeah. Wales was the epicenter of the training of the Normandy landings. It's used very heavily by the military for training and stuff like that because of the land and the architecture of the land around there. So I would never sit anywhere unless I was literally in the most remote part of the Scottish Highlands where even wild haggis can't survive. I would never presume I'm not in a strike zone. Because the UK is so small and it's so together. And even if you're lucky enough to not be in one, best hope it's not a windy day if it's a ground burst. Because everyone's affected. Everyone's affected.
Massively. But no, it's the same with us. Like from seeing that comment, that's why we prep. We're in Wales. We're not
Thank you,
really
Richard.
that far from one of the military bases. So to us, we still prep just in case. You don't know what the consequences are going to be of another fallout of a sense, not on nuclear fallout, but elsewhere, more rioting, more protests, things like that. That could come up your street. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, I do kind of prep and plan for it in the case of if I knew something was coming or it's imminent, I'd be getting the hell out of Dodge because of where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
I would be going to a more remote location. I've got several that I've actually scouted out and stuff like that. I know, Brian, you say that you just, grab a drink and watch the lovely, quick, fast sunrise, but, it's different when you're a pensioner. You've already lived, so...
I get that, and it's not being a negative Nelly. The problem I have is geography. Where I live, I'm about 14 miles from Grangemouth. They'll hit the refinery. Even though it's shutting down, they'll nuke that. There's long stretches of roads that could be an improvised airfield. They'll get hit. There's major transport hubs in Glasgow, not to mention the city and the shipbuilding. And then you've got Coalport, Faslane and all that shortly along the line from there. Then you've got Edinburgh Airport. I'm within a 48-mile corridor of glow-in-the-dark fun fest that, with limited traffic available, limited routes available if you want to go north. Everybody that thinks they're going to jump on the A9 and head to Inverness and up further beyond that, they should try that road on a good day. Never mind when it's queued up with cars, because you're not going anywhere.
So you say that, but if obviously our increase in spend, military spend and stuff like that, could mean the UK defences. And if that is the case, they're more likely to defend Faslane than they are, Bolton or Wigan or something like that. So you might technically, as our defence improves, as the more budget is actually used wisely at some point, you might be in a better position. You could argue.
Currently, we have no defences against.
Oh yeah, I know.
We've got no theatre ballistic defences. Any nuke that comes in, we've got no means to do it, and that's even with warning.
We've got 2 naval ships that could, I think.
The Type 45s are routinely getting the engines ripped out of them because the power packs were insufficient. Most of them are in care and maintenance. You're lucky to have 2 at sea at any one time out the fleet. So, yeah, I wouldn't put much hope in that either.
Well, like I say, the budget has increased. Hopefully somebody will be in charge of spending it wisely. Paul, let's get your take on all this news going on at the moment, because you sat there quietly and patiently looking very patriotic.
Oh, I take it you've seen the national UK flag splattered behind me then?
And I didn't notice a thing, no.
It's very subtle.
Yeah, bit like your white shirt, Mike.
Okay. Right. What's the news, Paul? The news. Come on. Let's stay on topic.
The news. I think the Russian bear is getting severely poked, and it's only a matter of time before he actually does something like takes out one of the interconnecting power cables, or cuts the internet off to Europe, and the what the hell do you call them? The offshore wind turbines and whatnot. He's liable to do that. Plus, where I physically am, I'm splattered within 16 to 20 miles of four RAF air bases. So where I am is going to get absolutely trashed if a certain airburst device goes off.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. I don't think anybody can truly say they're in a safe place. I mean, we do have members that are in remote parts of the Scotland, some actually on the Outer Hebrides and stuff like that. So they might be in a good position, but still, Brian's right. Without billionaire budgets, you can't prepare for a direct strike.
No.
have bug out plans anyway. Have bug out plans in place. If you're anything like me, you will try till the last breath. You know, I'm not going to sit there and just watch the sunrise. I will be trying no matter what. But
If you're looking for somewhere to go, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say about 2.5 miles away from where I am, there is a old World War II bunker, which it's located under about 12 to 30 feet under a car park.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a space in there for a couple of hundred people.
Yeah. Scout these places like very, very rigorously. And when somebody puts a link on the Discord of a 20 grand bunker that's got one entrance and one exit, most of us preppers think one thing. That's your grave. Yeah, that is your grave. If you want to go somewhere to cuddle up with your family and suffocate quietly, that's the place to go. This is why I talk about billionaire budgets. Even stuff like that that's very underground, it's old World War II. What's the ventilation? What's the air circulation like? What's the sanitation like? What's the condition of all the facilities like that? Are you just going to be buried and dying a lot slower? Yeah. This is a question you've got to ask. And if it's a World War II one that's not really deep, like the shelters, they're designed for World War II ordnance. And they're designed for stuff before Nagasaki and Hiroshima, because that wasn't even in their mindset when they built these bunkers. All right? Mm-hmm. So just bear that in mind. Modern structure compared to... The government would have to invest and build them. Public shelters. That's the only way it would happen in this country. There's lots of... There's a link on the new ukpn.org website for subterranean UK. If you think you're going to have a chance for something like that, if you think you're on the outskirts of a blast and it might just do enough to cover you, by all means, go and check it out. Make sure you scout your location. Make sure you do everything safely and legally. But for me, World War II infrastructure would be probably more brittle than most people's houses and regular basements.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's that European country? Is it Switzerland or Sweden that has more Sweden that actually has more bunkers than people?
Yep. It's a building regulation there. So if you build a block of flats, you have to have the cellar, the bomb shelter, as it were, enough for them people. And it's part of the building regulations. The building regulations over here is squeeze as many people into a small space as possible.
They stopped it. It was mandatory by law up until 91. Mm-hmm. And then everybody embraced the peace dividend of the Cold War, which was foolish. But the Swiss reinitiated that 2 years ago. So that they still kept them in care and maintenance, a lot of them. But now they've made it mandatory. They've got to rebuild them. And they've actively checked and repurposed them and reintroduced the older ones.
Mm-hmm.
My flag's upside down, is it?
Yeah, and you're also called Alan, apparently. So there you go.
There's no point coming down this neck.
It's fine. It's a distress signal. He's in distress. It's okay.
I'm in distress because Starmer's still in the government.
Oh, it's going to be upside down for a long time. Brian, the infrastructure, people taking shelter, stuff like that. You were saying there's somewhere you could go?
If you were looking to bug out anywhere, if it was me personally, I'd consider the south of Scotland, not the north. The north's really, really inhospitable. The south is more temperate and there's more trees and forests. So Galloway, that sort of area, Dumfries.
Take my risk with the freezing temperatures over them bloody midges in Dumfries and Galloway.
There's no shelter. The problem is, the further north you go, it's hilly, desolate. Mm-hmm. There's no means to have a real chance the further north you go. I mean, it's not all desolate, but I mean, you're so high up, there's no bloody trees. It's rocky. There's nothing to help dissipate or mitigate blast effects like a big forest round about you. So if it was me personally, I'd consider the south-west of Scotland rather than... Well, then you've got to worry about Hunterston Power Station getting taken out as well and all that crap. But if it was anywhere...
Yeah. Like I said, there's something on every doorstep, right? That's the thing. That's the thing. Maybe if Starmer does get rid of every single power station and we're just running off, little windmills spread across the country, we'll be all right. They'll have nothing to the safest place will be to set up camp in the derelict nuclear power station.
See what Paul was saying earlier about worrying about them chopping interconnectors and stuff. They're trying to do that now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was
They're
that?
doing that now.
I can't remember the name of the ship. Oh, it's gone.
It's
They
a
let them go.
Russian one.
Yeah, what was it, Brian?
They let them go. They boarded it last year and charged the captain and the first mate. They let them go last week and said that they couldn't find any charges that were relevant to make them stick, so they let them go.
Well, there you go. There you go, lads. Off you go. Try again. Next time we'll have no internet to Europe.
They actually let them go pending the outcome of the trial as well. So they let them go back to Russia, then had the trial, and then said that given the current regulations and laws in Sweden, they couldn't charge it, or Norway or whatever it was. They let them go. So how's that a deterrent?
This is it. Well, you're talking about the UK. We don't deter anyone. We welcome them all. Liam Max says, Mike, there is a reason why there are next to no trees on the Scottish Isles. Are we talking about the environment hospitality? Oh, yeah, that word there.
It's windy. Not always, all of them. Isley's got a lot of trees. Lewis and Harris get loads of trees. Shetland's got none.
Yeah. It's they were paying people to go and live on them at one point, right? I believe.
I've worked there. You couldn't pay me enough.
Shetland and Orkney will be targets as they have oil and gas terminals, says James Ridley.
Orkney would be devastated. Shetland they're doing us a favour.
Wasn't there a programme of building shelters under town halls, or is that my broken brain feeding me misinformation? No, there was. So this is the Cold War stuff. Just like the ROC bunkers. The ROC bunkers were observation posts, 2-man teams. That's pretty much it. You were down there, you were monitoring. They probably didn't expect you to come back up at any point. That was your job until the bitter end after the Cold War turned warm. The ROC command posts were under like town halls and stuff like that, much more substantial. If you ever get a chance, you're up in Scotland, go to a place I visited. There's a video on the channel called Scotland's Secret Bunker. An absolute brilliant example of that, as well as examples of different types of bunkers built inside of that. Looks absolutely amazing. Would it take a direct strike with a modern ordnance? Very, very unlikely. The air system, the backup power system for the one in Scotland, for the Cold War, how they turned the emergency power on was outside of the bunker. So basically, if the power went off, the guy who ran the place literally told me they had to have somebody, a volunteer, run out in the radiation or whatever was going on at the time, pull a giant lever on the generators, and then potentially run back in. So yeah, you can see how it's a great bit of history. It's a good thing to look at, but practically wise, you'd have to be buying things like the Minutemen silos in the States to even stand a chance with the depth they are. But even them are filled in, most of them. So
there's one in Dundee if you get a chance to go. So what they used to do was the Royal Observer Corps reported into like command and control stations, and there's one semi-sunken in Dundee. It's been kept by, see the people that run Subbrit, that website you're talking about? They've opened one up in Dundee and kept it in care and maintenance as an exhibit, and you can go along to see that one. But the ones in the town halls and stuff were part of regional seats of government, and they were built on a shoestring. There's one in Inverness at Raigmore near the hospital. There's a few of them, but a lot of them have been flattened. A lot of them were surface mounted for cost. Mm-hmm. So they weren't even buried.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Then this is lots of people's plan, and there's just no realism involved. And you've got to think as well of the population density. If you think, I've spied that ROC bunker up there in that farmer's field, that's what I'm going to do. How many preppers, survivalists, or just basic people that are informed are going to have the same plan? So do you want your last moments on this earth fighting to the death with crossbows and knives for a place in a tomb?
Nope.
That's the question. James Ridley, there's a nuke bunker in Stockport Town Centre. I think it's a museum, yes. And thank you if that's also you, James, who's put the donation in on PayPal. That's awesome. Really do appreciate it. It's the same name, so I assume it's you. Yeah, thank you very much for that one. Church crypts, same issue. Listen, we're not saying discount these places at all, right? If there's a dirty bomb or something like that, or an individual strike in the UK, the thing we've got to worry about is fallout. All right, these shelters, if they're 10 foot underground, are going to help protect you against fallout, same as being in the centre of your building, away from any edges. So these places are really good to know, keep on your map, local knowledge, stuff like that. What we're saying is, if it's dead man's hand and all the automatic missiles are already in the air, yeah, get a boat, go to the middle of the Pacific very quickly.
Yeah.
Because Waterworld cometh. I'm just looking through comments, guys. You feel free to jump in on any of the stuff. What do you guys think the gold price and silver price? Is this a sign of the times? Is this fear driven? Or is this just... I don't know. Every single channel that talks about stuff like this, like World War III, like the coming apocalypse, like zombies rising, use this as evidence.
Yeah,
It's not just that, though. It's economic uncertainty, never mind theatre of war activity. Every time Trump opens his mouth, the market takes a shit fit and it tries to go someplace as a safe haven, which is generally precious metals. So every time he signs something, the market has a heart attack, shit fit, and the price of gold goes through the roof. And in the last year he's been in power, funnily enough, if you look at that spike, because the theatre of war in Ukraine hasn't really changed that much. But what has changed in that last spike zone is who's the president of the Western world, and it's him. And he's done systemic sweeping taxes with no prior notice. He's arresting people in his own country and deporting them wholesale. He's upset most of his allies, brought into doubt whether he's going to take his part in Article 5 in NATO if one's attacked. Not to mention he alienated China at one point as well. So if you put in the time frame he's been in power and that spike, I would suggest it's more related to economic uncertainty caused by him than any threat of war. Personal opinion.
Potentially. I mean, I couldn't disagree with you on many of the points, but part of me also hopes that we have a British Trump at some point over here who actually puts our country first, because there's lots that does need doing, there's lots he's doing right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Don't disagree with a lot of his things. A lot of the things that he's doing make sense, but a lot of the good ideas are very... It's like trying to fish a pound coin out of shite, right? He's got loads of good ideas that he's trying to enact, but he just buries them in so much waffle and crap that finding that pound in the turd is a real challenge.
I love the analogy, Bri. You never cease to amaze.
I try.
I gotta
Brian
say,
speaks his
Mike and
mind.
Brian,
Go on, Ben.
I gotta agree with both of you. Me and Alan is, Mike, and Brian. We like to analyze the economy at the minute, and we have the odd chat on WhatsApp. But no, the price of gold's gone up way too high to show it's just fear-driven. It's not. It is pointing to something big, and me and Alan have both said it's looking at a economical collapse.
Yeah, and it scares people, because people that do want to invest in precious metals, because as Marty correctly points out, fiat currency is dead. They're definitely dying anyway. They have the mentality of, well, look at it, it's at an all-time high. But on a graph that does this consistently, whether it's up and down on the way, whether it does this, you're always going to be at the all-time high, because you're always at the current date. But that could carry on like this. Yeah, so it's
up like that.
I think when it comes to silver and stuff like that, risk versus reward at the end of the day, don't expect to buy it and sell it in a year's time for a massive profit, because you're going to pay for more than the spot price when you buy it. It'll take a while to go up. It is genuinely investing in wealth preservation. And for me personally, you guys might disagree, it's the last thing on my prepper list. Right?
I can't eat gold.
my beans, my potatoes, everything like that, to me, is more valuable than getting the silver. Wealth preservation is wonderful if you've got everything else already.
Yep.
Okay,
I totally agree.
I'll just go off on a little tangent for a minute about silver.
Go on.
Just imagine if we need silver for how can I put this, for after Putin drops the great big one. Okay. Say in the future it mutates into heaven forbid, werewolves.
What?
Yeah, I'm talking shit.
No shit.
I learned from you, Brian.
What the fuck have you been smoking? Fucking werewolves.
Right,
Jesus.
Paul. This is a tangent, all right? This is your conversation.
Woo. Here it's gone off the reservation, well and truly.
Right, so I'll tell you something about silver, okay? Whether it's the coin value or whether you're trying to buy Brian's last can of Pepsi with 300 ounces of it, you've no fucking chance, by the way, it has got value in other things. Silver is actually a useful metal, more than gold. It has more uses than gold. Gold's a good conductor and stuff like that, but silver has a lot more practical uses than gold. So, in some way, whether that's a rebuild and we're all, buying things with bottle caps, just like Fallout, it will still hold some sort of value.
Can't you do some medical stuff with silver?
Yep. It's so silver particles can disinfect and stuff like that. That's what these. You ever seen the people? There was a fad where people get these things to put the phones in and disinfect it. And they're like, "Oh, look at this! It's so clean, wonderful. Now I'm going to handle this handful of coins." Pointless. Question from Philip Hull. Venezuela, Ukraine, North Korea, Iran, Taiwan. Where do you think it escalates to World War III if we aren't there already?
Taiwan.
You're missing one.
You missing one? What are we missing?
Yep, China.
That's the
That
Taiwan.
would be Taiwan.
That's the Taiwan.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Brian's jumped in straight with Taiwan. Fair enough. Personally, you'll never know. That's not. I don't think it's going to. At this stage, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a single tipping point. It's going to be like, oh, they're doing it at the same time. This is unrelated, and it's just going to be these pockets. And I think we're already in it. No, whichever way you look at it, whichever way you cut it, there's too many fronts going on for us to say we're in peace times. In this country directly, we might be in peace times, but as a world as a whole, you convince an alien that comes down that we're at peace times, they'd think we're nuts.
Might be Iran.
If I could, very quick, just because I jumped back in from the loo break on this, I have to agree with Brian. I think it's going to be Taiwan. I watch it close, as you know, Mike, on Flight Radar and that, and some of the flight patterns I've seen with US and Taiwan and China moving in, that we know is imminent. It's been all over mainstream media. It's been all over X.
Okay.
But I think that's where it's going to start.
Devil's advocate. This is to you and Brian then, because you both said to Taiwan. I believe you that Taiwan, that's going to happen, right? They want it back. There's an old grudge, stuff like that. My point is, who's going to stop and stand up to China? Because it's going to be, this is not going to be a Ukraine situation of starting a convention. This is going to be, enveloped. Oh, look, we're doing this exercise. It's not an exercise. Taiwan is now ours.
Yeah.
At that point, if you're Trump, do you start World War III? Trump right now is the threat to keep Taiwan, right? As long as that threat remains, great. If they ignore that threat at any point and pull the trigger, is that threat then going to be viable? That would be my question, Brian.
I would think with the force posture and shifts that have been going on, and by that I mean Trump has clearly pushed Europe to try and look after its own defence, because he's making a major shift to a different threat axis to the Pacific. He doesn't want to have to get involved in Europe. He has made it abundantly clear he's got no appetite to be involved in a conflict in Europe other than selling weapons and making money. His primary threat that he sees is China. He's made no secret of it. China's aware of it, and they don't show any signs of stopping. At some point when they feel they're ready enough, and I would agree with you, it'll be under the guise of, it's like the boiling frog thing again. For a year, 2 years, 3 years, they've been surrounding them, breaching their defences, now and again, drawing them out, checking response times, gathering intel, circling the island, drills. At some point, the drill will not be a drill. But you cannot hide that amount of amphibious capability. You cannot hide that amount of troop marshalling that's going to be involved. So there will be time and there will be a build-up. How long that will be before they go from here to here, I can't tell you. But it will be measured in days, if not weeks, because you can't move hundreds of thousands of troops to marshalling points and staging points and moving all that rail freight. And that's before you get any leakage from spies and electronic signal intelligence.
Yeah.
They will know it's going to happen. And I would suspect the US would put a blockade in place if they're going to do anything, because they're too far outside their own logistics train to fight effectively, unless they actually put US troops in Taiwan, which they're not going to do.
Yeah, home turf advantage for thinking.
Oh,
that
100%.
could be the best deterrent, having a small US base in Taiwan. Because then a direct attack on them would be declaring war against the US, which I don't think China would do in that way. So that potentially
devil's
could be the best
advocate.
deterrent. Yeah.
If they were going to do that, I think they would attack before it happened.
Yeah.
I think that would be enough to set them off. Unless they did it and then announced it, unless they
We're already
moved,
there.
like they filled up a couple of, filled a C5 Galaxy, got a few of them, and just moved them out there and called it Camp Freedom Mark 62 or whatever the fuck it was. Said this is an American base, American territory, and then slowly expanded it. That's a tough call for China to make a direct threat then. So, but I think they would need to do it that way.
Option. That's probably the safest option, because even a blockade needs that logistics chain, right? And I mean, where the logistics would have probably, I think that it would only work in America's favor if Australia was heavily involved, in my opinion, and Japan have a grudge to bear there as well. But again, how capable they are is another story. Isn't war? Excuse me. Isn't war really because of financial uncertainty? UK in trouble, France and Germany also in trouble. And if the government did it right, this right now should be a prosperous time for the UK. We should have defence jobs. We should be building up our military. We should do stuff like that, because what creates money and what generates money and what's the profitable side of things is the build up to war. And that's where you get the biggest leaps in technology as well. Yeah. Look throughout history. The biggest leaps in technology is wartime. The build up, the prelude to war. But we're not doing it right anyway. This country, we cannot solve our basic domestic issues to then try and expect that same country that you are failing miserably to sign up, be that a frontline soldier, be that logistics or anything like that, no matter what salary you offer, to try and get them to sign up. You complain when we're patriotic. You're killing patriotism in this country. And patriotism is what a lot of people originally sign up for when they sign up to the military.
Yeah.
So in this country, we're not going to see the profits for war. We're going to see the knock-on effects. We're going to see the rationing. We're going to see the stuff like that. The people that are unprepared are going to see their ass. Pretty much.
We're getting slight improvements in that. The Type 26 program's taken off well, and that's been good for exports for the UK. So shipbuilding's becoming better. The problem is we don't have the infrastructure to support it. We were talking Discord earlier, a lot of the steelworks infrastructures went down the shitter.
Oh yeah.
I work in and have worked in all of them in Scotland. Through my job, I've been in all of them. And from personal experience, their 50s, 60s technology, it's broken, it's underinvested, and it ain't actually doing anything.
I used to live near Redcar, which was a thriving seaside town, and that was funded mostly by the steel industry and stuff like that, and that's all gone. And, you know, my granddad, before he passed away, told me about his shipbuilding on the Tyne. That's all gone. You know, that whole industry. We've exported, while we try to go net zero and carbon neutral, we're not doing that with magical new alien technologies. Yeah, we're not flying around in water-powered cars. We're exporting it. We're exporting it. The carbon footprint of the world is going up. It doesn't matter if our country's going down.
See, if there was an actual serious wartime event tomorrow, it's not the lack of tanks and troops that would kill us, although we don't have enough of either. It's the manufacturing capability to sustain it. We do not, as a country, have the capacity to sustain even a low, limited war on our own. We just can't do it.
I don't think with the current government and local council the way it is either, because technically what you're talking about, we could flip it. Right, you've got car manufacturing plants in the northeast and stuff like that you could turn around and you're no longer producing Nissans, you're producing drones. I don't think we've even got the nous and the infrastructure and the leadership to do that.
We don't have, even if you did that, we don't have the base materials to supply it. We don't have the ability to smelt the iron, to produce the steel. We don't have the chemical infrastructure. We don't have the base material industrial base to build and supply the high-tech infrastructure that we are capable. Even if we repurposed those industries, like you say, we don't have the supply base and raw material production and manufacturing capability anymore. That's all gone. We're a service industry-led country now. We don't have the raw materials processing capability. We would need to build it from scratch.
Yeah, our biggest export at the moment is education.
Yeah.
Because people come over here to study and stuff like that, and that's our biggest export at the moment. And yeah, you can't really flip that in that favour. Polonium, I wonder whether people are really going to be trading silvers or silver and gold for food, etc. in SHTF. Thoughts? Us, generally, I think everyone here would say no. But, I mean, I think if we're talking long term, people who have managed big homesteads and farms and stuff like that may be able to produce an abundance where they do start selling it for stuff like that. That's the only time I can suspect it'll come in. And even then, they'll want...
Flipping that round.
They'd want bullets and other supplies before anything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We only ascribe value to something based on what we put value in. So, value when food's scarce is food. Mm-hmm. Value on bullets and beans is high when these things are lacking. You can't eat them, and throwing a gold bar isn't as much good as a 12 shotgun shell, right? So until things normalised and there was any signs of civility or civilization rebuilding, I've got to be honest, my own personal opinion is it's got no value other than if you're on out of lead for making shells, that's about it. Yeah. And like Paul was saying, it's also double duty for in case they turn into a werewolf.
But I mean, if it's wealth preservation, if SHTF lasts 6 months, 6 years, if you can survive that with the supplies you've got, and you do have a stash of silver, I have no doubt at some point on the rebuild of civilization, it'll be worth something. You might not be there to use it, but Aztec gold is still worth something. The Aztecs can't spend it, but it's still worth something. So yeah, it depends if you're hoarding it for you or the generations ahead of you.
I think it depends on where your priorities lie and your financial resources are. I don't have enough free money to buy preps and prep for a financial collapse. My financial collapse preps would be what I can eat and what you can see. And a lot of people will prep for financial collapse by buying gold. I can't fault that. Just for me, I see the logic more buying things that I can use rather than what I hope I can spend.
How about
Paul Thomas says, "I'll take the gold fillings out of the dead." I think you've been watching too much Pacific or Band of Brothers. I don't think many people have gold fillings these days. Now, if the trading commodity was turkey teeth, I could make a fortune off the people around here.
turkey teeth? What's that?
Turkey, you must have seen, go and watch an episode of like Love Island or something. Every lad's got a smile that looks like it's drawn by a kid with a crayon. It's
look like the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
But do they do Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying if I had the millions, I wouldn't have my own set of turkey teeth, but they're still turkey teeth at the end of the day. Yeah, the economic problems and coming market crash and recession we will face have been caused by all the wasteful spending and money printing in the last 5 years, plus tariffs as the icing on top.
Yeah.
But we could just print more money. It's fine. Don't worry. We'll print.
We'll run out of paper.
You'll get your stimulus check of £20,000. Funnily enough, a loaf of bread will be £21,000.
And it will be 2 billion for a power bank.
Oh,
definitely. Brian's going to be a bazillionaire. Come that moment. It's not worth anything, Brian. It's not worth anything. Why we all wait for this? What are their left hand doing behind our backs? Yeah, this is. I mean, I don't want to go down the conspiracy route, especially with recent events. People saying like it's distractions and stuff like that. I think at the end of the day, the world's just in a effed up place. Morals are in an effed up place. I genuinely would love the absolute resurgence of Christianity because it would instill morals in a lot of people that don't have them.
Yeah.
Personal opinion, you know. It could also be the cause of a lot of wars, religion and stuff like that. So we won't get into that massive debate, but we've just become a world of people that are just,
Don't care
I
about
want,
anything.
I need.
Yeah, exactly. I want, I need. That's it.
Me, 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 me.
And that's why people who can't afford to prep make me laugh, because they can't afford to prep, but they're not walking around in Primark's finest trainers. They've got a set of Nike Air Max that cost £80. Guess what? You can get 2 months worth of food for that.
And smoking.
Yeah.
Smoking.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Judgy bastard.
Anybody that can't control their addiction shouldn't be prepping. Oh, shit. I can stop anytime.
Yeah, sure. You
What's that?
tried. You tried. That didn't go well.
It didn't.
Isn't that a can of Coke, Brian?
No, that was photoshopped the other day. That was Mike's
okay.
IT skills.
Yeah.
Load of crap. What will come first, civil war or nuclear?
Civil war.
Civil.
Yeah, Civil War.
Civil would. I don't think we've got the logistics for it. I used to say that a lot, but takes convincing a couple of generals.
I would suggest rather than civil, it would be a conventional conflict. I don't think a civil war is likely at all. I think civil disorder is possible, but I don't think civil war is even remotely possible. But I think a conventional conflict would come first before a nuclear one. That would probably be a better way to phrase the question.
Yeah, I mean, civil war, I wouldn't say 100% couldn't happen. There's ways that, the civil unrest could get to a degree where it's just uncontrollable.
Mate, they wouldn't go to bed before 1 o'clock.
Yeah, but it'd only take one charismatic leader to then, direct that. And it could happen. It's a very remote possibility.
Vote for me, comrades.
The charismatic leader. What items do you see being rationed? Okay, so
Meat.
the thing is, right, so if 50% is imported, if them imports stop, even if 50% of that 50% stops, that's 25% less on your plate. We're all in a just-in-time system in the supermarkets. So if the foreign imports stop, you might think, well, I don't eat any foreign food, blah, blah, blah. But the people that do, and the hole that fills has to be filled. So the stuff we do produce in the UK, the stuff that UK farmers are doing, is not enough to feed the population.
Mm-hmm.
What will be rationed? Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Question for you. When was the last time they'd rationed in the UK?
Didn't it
Second
go
World
into
War.
the 50s?
Nope.
Was it the early 60s?
Nope.
Go on.
70s.
COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
crap,
not,
yeah.
Last time we rationing was COVID.
Yeah.
And look at what they did.
Yeah.
There was no rationale of how many people were in your house or whatever. It was all written in the back of a fag packet, and it was no more than 3 items per person, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could have like 60 million kids like Mike, and you could buy 3 tins of beans and sausages. Or you might be Crazy Cat Lady, and you could go in and buy 3 tins of beans and sausages. It was rationing by another name for months and months and months, incidentally,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no forethought. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a trick question, but the last time we had rationing was only about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. A form of rationing, definitely. A restriction form of rationing. But I mean, if it was rationing, wartime rationing, it would have to be a different method because let's be honest, Brian, you could go and buy your 3 tins of beans and sausage at Asda, then go and get 3 at Tesco, then go and get 3 at that. You're still consuming the amount.
Yeah.
I think if it was rationing, wartime rationing, we're
The
talking
problem
about...
was you were queuing to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you were at your local shops. Support your local shops.
Yeah.
Honestly, everyone was fighting and saying there was no toilet roll left, there was no pasta left. I walked literally into my corner shop and there was loads of toilet roll, loads of pasta. Didn't inflate the prices. Just normal corner shop prices. Just people are insane. And
My corner shop was bare, mate.
was it?
Yeah.
Nah, not around here. Everyone had flocked to the supermarkets. It might have been bare at some point later on, but when everyone was flocking to the super... This is what we talk about in SHTF as well. If it got to a point where it's scavenging and people are out there, if they're in the supermarkets, you're in the wholesalers. If they're in the wholesalers, you should be in the distribution warehouses and the manufacturers. Yeah? Be a step ahead of that crowd.
Do you know what used to make me laugh, though? You would be standing queuing, and this essential worker shite just grew arms and legs, and you would have 70-year-old Jeannie the chain smoking cleaner from the hospital rocking in front of a queue half a mile long for a half bottle of gin and a case of Benson and Hedges, and you're sitting looking going, what the fuck, how's she a key worker? And that was the sort of shit that went on.
And then you clap for Jeannie as she heads home on a Thursday.
Yeah.
We could do a whole episode just on the cock-ups in that whole time. It was my prime moment was a mask like this over somebody's face with the nose sticking out, telling me I need to put a mask on. So,
Yeah.
All the constant complaints on a bus.
Do you think anything would change, though?
No.
No.
Has
not.
How they dealt with it then? Arguably, we've got an even worse government in place now. I'm not convinced it wouldn't be more of the same, if not worse, if a similar thing happened again.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just banning somebody. There you go. You can go and Slava Russia somewhere else, arsehole. Sorry.
Adios, bitch.
You're entitled to your views, not your propaganda.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Mike, do you prep vape juice? I do indeed, but I also keep hold of the thing that stopped me smoking after 20 years, which was a book, and I'd just stop if I needed to. Simple as that.
What book was that?
It's Alan Carr's Easy Way. And I read it. I was smoking 20 to 30 cigarettes a day at the time. Got up to 40 when I worked on the railways. I returned the last page. Didn't even want one. Didn't even crave it. Yeah, I would stop. I know it's easy said, but I was much more addicted to smoking than I am to vaping. I can go a day without even touching this thing if I want to. I do it on here because I don't know. It's just habit.
There's a lot of bad habits on here, Mike. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Brian can quit anytime.
Anytime I
He'll
want.
be shaking without Pepsi before I'm shaking without vapes. I'll tell you that.
And I'd be shaking
You're
without
right.
coffee.
There you go. Coffee as well. There you go. We're a nation of addicts, unfortunately.
What's your poison, Ben?
Monster. Yep. Oh no.
Oh, God
You
almighty.
have to pick a bad one.
Zero sugar. Only the zero sugar ones. I'm keto.
That explains the desk.
Oh yeah. Well,
All them energy drinks and you can't clean the desk. I mean, they're not very good.
You can't hold the duster steady enough.
me and Brian got something in the pipeline there, so that's all right.
Brian's face when the werewolves were mentioned. Classic.
And Brian, very quick, I did have a look, and even those first draft, that was classic.
Don't
I'll
get me
fix it
started
later.
on vapes and vape juice.
Bring on the werewolves, says Teresa.
There you go. There, Brian. There's next year's challenge sorted. Who will break first?
Me.
There you go.
I'll tell you
Challenge
straight, it'll be me.
When you see 7 people in a pool holding up a brolly because it's raining, you know we're fucked. I mean, it's simple. I think we're running out of news and stuff like that, so we don't want this to go on to all night. I really do appreciate the fact there's 240 people still in here. That's absolutely awesome. Really do appreciate all of your input as well tonight. Some great £50 super chat. I'm blown away by that. 2 sets of PayPal donations as well. Absolutely amazing. Pretty much you've covered the website for this year alone between you, not including the extras I'll get anyway, but yeah. Before I go, you guys seen the website? Thoughts?
Oh, it's awesome.
It's really good.
Yeah, we'll add to it. We'll add more resources and stuff. Ben's going to be one of our writers, by the way. He's down as one of our writers, so he'll be responsible for some of the news. There you go. So
Newsflash: how to tidy your desk.
Complimentary apples that you can hurl at me for not doing my job. It's all good.
go.
Why not? Why not Tins a Monster instead?
That means I did a good job. You expect me to do a good
No,
job?
I mean empty tins. I don't mean full ones.
True, but they still got their uses.
Is that our 10th member of the night?
That is
10th member of the night. Awesome.
Woohoo!
Everyone that's joined tonight, Brian's turned on his memberships. Go join his as well. It's cheaper than mine. I know I'm telling you that now after you've already spent the money. Sorry, guys.
You don't have to. The only reason I've turned it on is once it gets to a certain threshold, and I'll publish it at the end of every month, there's like 10 quid, 50 quid, 100 quid, whatever in the kitty, and then it'll go to a vote. What do you want to buy? We'll use the money to buy a power bank or a solar panel and then review it. That's all it's for. It's for nothing else other than that. Listen, I don't particularly need the money for YouTube. It's just for doing that.
No Pepsi?
He's being modest. He's being modest. Look behind him. Look behind him. He's being modest. All his family eats is potatoes and canned beans and sausage. That's all his family eats.
There's enough.
So sponsor Brian today and get him some protein.
There's protein there, look. Look, there's steak.
How the hell can you afford steak?
I don't feed the kids.
He doesn't buy silver.
Oh, you mean you let them lick the plate after you and the missus have finished, do you?
Oh, no. They can get like somebody else's plate. Tough love. Get out there in the real world. Right,
before we start talking about people that's licking, that's for Friday night when it's a non-prepping related chat. Thank you to everyone for your support on this channel. Make sure you go and check out Brian's channel, Scottish Prep 73, Ben's channel, which is Renegade Preppers UK, and Paul's channel, which is Norfolk Prepper UK. Is that
UK
right?
Prepper. Norfolk
UK Prepper. It's all right. Radio 2, BBC Radio 2 got my name wrong, so I'm entitled to do it as well. Go and check out their guys' channels. We'll keep you as updated as we possibly can. Don't forget to tune in Sunday for the Fireside, where you can ask all of your perfectly sensible questions like you always do. And remember, on them Prepper Firesides questions, don't think you have to come up with the most complicated question ever so you sound intelligent. If you've genuinely got a question about prepping, if you're new to it, anything like that, don't be afraid to ask. The only stupid questions are the ones you didn't ask. All right? We're here to help. That's the whole idea behind it. All right. Really appreciate all the moderators as well. Miss Worm, Rift, if you're still hanging about there somewhere and not chasing someone off a security site with a dog, and Evil Girl, thank you all for being here. Brian, any final thoughts to the peoples and goodbyes?
It's always good to see many people turning out to get involved in the conversation, because that's what it's all about. So thank you.
Excellent. Ben, any final thoughts and goodbyes for you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks, chat, for being the way you guys are and keeping it lively. Thanks, Brian and Paul. And final thoughts for everyone out there is each day as well as you want and as well as you can.
There you go. Paul, any final thoughts and goodbyes, as long as it's not werewolf related?
Be safe. Enjoy your Pepsi. Keep your prep safe. And I have got something to say about the UK Prepper site, Mike.
Oh, go on.
The UK Prepper Network map. Maybe have it so if you click on it, you get a whopping great big map instead of everything like 2 or 3 pixels where you can't hardly see it.
Never happy. I am genuinely looking at a more interactive version at the moment. So it's coming soon. There's lots of features that I want to add on there. Some of them require licenses and stuff. So it'll be a gradual process over time, but I appreciate the feedback. It's always welcomed. Thank you, everyone. Prep sensibly, be safe. Don't let the fear take over. The thumbnail got you here, but hopefully the rationale kept you here. See you in the next one. Goodbye.